Our next speaker is Ramon Arratia, who is the Sustainability Director for Europe, Middle East, Africa and India at InterfaceFLOR. I had a look on Ramon's LinkedIn site this morning to learn a little bit more about him. And he said on that, his role is to continue to develop the company's sustainability strategy towards Mission Zero, which is for InterfaceFLOR's their promise to eliminate any negative impact it may have on the environment by 2020. So quite a bold statement. They've been doing life cycle assessments since 2000. With the majority of their environmental impacts in their supply chain, we can expect them to have one of the most advanced sustainability strategies around the supply chain and plenty to learn from. So Ramon, with that, I hand over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Evening. Where can I control the slides? Here. Okay, we don't have a very advanced strategy. It's quite, because I think this is quite a common sense strategy on understanding where are the impacts and looking where you have the most of your impacts and then trying to reduce the impacts. That's basically our strategy. So we don't follow a very complicated model. And I'll go through our thought process on what we do. The first thing is that, what do you buy? Companies or products? And at the end of the day, we buy products. And at the end of the day, our suppliers, they sell us products. So why do we need to engage and to make our suppliers better as a companies? At the end of the day, what we're buying is a product. It's a little thing that goes into our product, or it is something that goes into our shops. And that's where most of the impact is. So we need to shift this whole lie about corporate responsibility, corporate sustainability, which is making companies slightly less bad, to product sustainability, which is about redesigning radically what we sell to our customers. So this is our first idea on the thought process. And the second one, I think this is quite self-explanatory. The 700 question supplier questionnaire. And the picture is because it's very long and very boring. What's the point of asking suppliers a questionnaire of 700 questions? Like, do you have ISO 14000? How radical is that? How is this helping the suppliers to come up with radical solutions that help you to redesign your products and give you competitive advantage? We think that this is not very radical, and we think that this is just box ticking, and it is just trying to manage and trying to artificially compare companies, some of your suppliers, with other suppliers that they supply different things, so they don't have that many things in common. So what we think it works is focusing on your product. What you want to sell to your product is, for us, is carpet tiles. We're a carpet tile manufacturer. So our company, our clients, they don't want to be patronized with our stories about how sustainable we are as a company, because they're interested in this square of 50 by 50, and they want the most sustainable carpet tile. So we go back to our suppliers and ask them how can they come up with raw materials more sustainable. And the first thing you have to do, obviously, is a life cycle analysis, which for me is the most key tool in terms of sustainability. You need to learn where your impacts are. For us, that is around 7-9%, you said, of your supply chain is on your direct impact. For us, it's 9%. For most of the companies, it's less than 10%. So why are we talking about corporate responsibility, corporate sustainability, where most of the impacts are outside your boundaries? Now, for a carpet manufacturer, 68% is on your raw materials. For a car company, it's different. For a car company, it might be in use and maintenance, where is most of the impact. So we go for the next level of this. And if you, I didn't put the slide, but if you go through the 68%, you would realize that most of the impact of a carpet tile is on the nylon yarn. So around 50% of the whole impact is on just one single supplier. So what do? Do you send a questionnaire to that company? Or Do you go for another supplier? Or do you set them a challenging target? So what we have done is in 1997, or in 1994, we went with our Mission Zero. And one of the commitments on Mission Zero was by 2020, all our raw materials will be either recycled or bio-based. So it wasn't about the questionnaire. It wasn't about micromanaging our supply chain. It was about just giving them one signal. If you want to do business with us in 2020, you have to play by these rules. So it's about one vision, and then that allows them to come up with innovations. Several years later, we invited our suppliers, our main suppliers, into Hawaii, big event with our senior management, and we talk about what our mission meant. And our mission is to eliminate our environmental impact by 2020. And again, no supplier questionnaires, no scorecards, no day-to-day management. And this week, we have launched a product which is 100% recycled yarn, 100% recycled nylon. And this is because one supplier went to this conference, got inspired by our vision and our mission. They understood that in order to do business with us, they would have to play by our rules. They would have to either have recycled content or bio-based content. And they are providing us with this type of yarn. Other supplier weren't convinced about recyclability, about bio-based content, and we're doing less and less and less with them. The main tool to influence your suppliers is not a questionnaire. It's giving them signals that in the long run or in the medium term, they might not be able to do business with you. Now, if you have most of the impacts on one raw material or on two raw materials or three raw materials, like many companies have, what is the main way of redesigning your product? Is either substituting that raw material for something else or asking your suppliers to come up with something else, or the same thing with less impact. This idea of sending questionnaires, of scorecards, it doesn't work. I will let you to read that, because this is a quote we got from our supplier CEO last week in the product that we launched. And if you have heard about the work from people like Donella Meadows on systems thinking, the least effective way of making change in a system is with prices, with scorecards, with tweaking the economics of a given thing. The most radical way of achieving change is with having the target, having the vision, and inspiring. And I think if we want to achieve real change in the supply chain, we need to play at that level, this macro level, system level, and then let suppliers come up with radical innovations. And once they come up with those radical innovations, you make more business with them, and you reward by doing more business with them. And then it works, because then you have a competitive advantage. Now we have products which are more sustainable, and we can go to our customers and tell them that we have products that are more sustainable for them. So we create a competitive advantage for us. And that's why I think looking at LCA and talking about product sustainability gives you more competitive advantage than doing just the corporate sustainability or corporate responsibility. Thank you.